Hello there. You have stumbled upon the Terribly Vexed Podcast. The fellas have been expecting you. Please prepare to have your mind blown squarely out of your ass. Be sure to set your motherfucker to receive. Enjoy the show.
It's the Terribly Vexed Podcast with Justin Perleone and Josh Branson.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
We're back again.
Yeah, we're back again.
Do you just want to jump right into this thing?
Yeah. You had something you wanted to talk about?
I definitely do. It kind of just, we'll make this a lean 15, I think. Not a funny 20, dirty 30.
Or just wherever it goes at this point.
I love it. It's something that bothers me big time, about as much as slacktivism does, which, by the way, I did hear. Have you ever heard of the comedian Anthony Jeselnik?
No.
He's all right. I've seen clips of him on Instagram, but he was talking about not so much. Well, he was not slacktivism exactly, but he was talking about people that put Facebook posts on stuff after a tragic event.
Right.
And he was saying all that's really saying is, don't forget about me.
Kind of putting yourself in there.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. He summed it right up for me.
Just, yeah.
Yeah. But another thing that really grinds my gears.
Can we talk about this in another episode?
Slacktivism?
Yeah. Briefly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Or did we trash that episode?
We talked about it, and then we brought it up again with Jeff and Nathan in the last episode, too.
Gotcha.
So,
sorry. I don't remember what we talk about from one episode to the next.
I know. Yeah.
There's a process that takes place here. Ooh. And something was going on there with the audio just a little bit.
Oh, I turned it up a little bit.
It's
just a tad.
Sometimes, dear listeners, we have gotten into this before, and we've talked ourselves right out of doing an episode for various reasons.
Yeah.
Sometimes we've just gotten together and shot the shit for a couple hours and kind of gotten a little crunked.
Yeah.
And then we just pulled away, said, I just can't do it. Just can't do it today.
Yeah. We talked ourselves out.
There's like a, you get, you're almost too tired at that point.
Right.
Just speaking for myself, that last time, that was me. I got too sleepy.
Yeah.
To actually.
Especially, like today we had to open the window to get some natural light in here. It's usually just one lamp and it's kind of dim. And
there's no beer. There's no alcohol.
Not today.
Which has been.
But sometimes there is.
Sometimes there is.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets you chatty.
Yeah. Or.
Get you talking. That's a good thing for a podcast.
Yep. But then with booze, there's a wall you hit where you're like, all right, fuck it.
And last time I went over that wall, I think.
Yeah.
You get the slurred speech,
and
you just get tired.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens.
You're not drunk. You're still buzzed.
Yeah.
But you've lost all will.
You're not,
and it's not. There's not much anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
There's really not. But we've been getting feedback from the listeners, and
yeah.
So we're back.
Positive.
We're back for just one more episode.
Yep. Yeah, we got quite a few. I mean, we got like 4, 5, 3, none. We didn't get any. We're lying. No, we got an email from a nice lady. We got a couple positive reviews on iTunes.
Yeah. So thanks everybody. We appreciate the feedback.
Yeah.
Good or bad, we don't care.
I kind of do. I've been saying I'm going to read them so we can do it later, or not at all, but. It is a little bit annoying because I kind of want a scathing negative one. That would be funny. Like Justin sucks because of but they're all just
Josh
so damn good.
Idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Exactly. Stuff like that.
Mostly true. So
that's not true. Don't say that.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
But so anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that's what's happened a couple of times. At least, 2 times, really, that I can think of. So not a lot out of 18 episodes. We'd be at 20 right now, I guess, if we was able to pull it off.
Buckled down.
Yeah, we just lost ambition right at the last second, just before we were about to start recording.
Yeah, I guess we should do a different podcast. Make a second one.
Yeah, because there's two. I don't know. There's this, which is the conspiratorial type stuff.
Yeah.
Or the mysterious, the unknown. And then the other one would be just almost just complaining, I guess.
Just bitching complaining, ranting, drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that one would be more,
Yeah.
conducive to an alcoholic sort of situation where we're sucking them down
Yep.
while we're...
Yeah. Which can be good.
It has worked in episodes past.
Every once in a while.
It has worked.
We get a real banger out there, as the kids say these days. They're bangers of an episode.
Is that what they call them?
Yeah, I hate it.
It's stupid.
I agree.
So today it's just coffee.
Yep.
It's
Seltzer
coffee.
and Diet Coke for me.
Open windows.
Yep.
And
sunlight.
Sunlight.
The horn might come out later. I'm kidding, of course.
This would be a great episode for that.
All right. Well,
very appropriate.
You asked for it.
You've got it close by, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Always.
Good. But what else were you want to talk about?
The other thing that grinds my gears.
Yeah. It wasn't just the slacktivism?
Well, no, it was in the similar vein of annoyance for me. Like slacktivism people, they annoy me. And these people annoy me. There's a little thing I like to call drive-through etiquette. And the people that don't have it, I think, should be wiped off the earth.
Drive-through etiquette?
You go to a drive-through, you get a number 2 no pickles, tops, right? But there are these people, like this morning, this guy's in front of me. He's sitting there ordering one thing after another, 4 cups of the frappe stuff, 3 bags of stuff. It's like $37 worth of crap. Pardon my French. Just go inside and get it.
Yeah. You don't want to go inside for that.
Yeah.
That's rude.
Exactly. That's it. I mean, that's really it. It just pisses me right off.
Okay.
That's just something I thought, the people out there might relate to.
Yeah. I can relate to that.
Do you think they should be wiped off the face of the earth, though?
Those people?
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay. Thank you. Somebody else agrees with me.
You've brought this up to other folks and they didn't agree with you?
Yeah, but they're like...
Come on, Justin. Patience.
Yeah, exactly. Some of the people I work with, they're like, oh, stop. Don't be like that. Do-gooders.
Right.
But...
not a fan.
Yeah. Yeah. I firmly believe we need some population control.
Just like the elites.
They believe that. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm down.
Because just before we started recording, we were looking at pictures of David Rockefeller. And you're like, how does this guy live to be 106 years old?
That's true.
Is that what he was when he died? And he was part of that, started, in fact, that Club of Rome thing, which was all about population control.
Club of Rome.
Club of Rome, if nobody's ever heard of that before.
I've never heard of that.
I know.
Yeah.
But,
what is it?
It was, like a think tank of sorts. Bunch of billionaires get together and try and figure out how they can...
It's like a secret society, one of those things?
Well, it was, there's, what a think tank is, right?
Yeah.
Where people get together, and I guess their scientists are paid by billionaires and to basically come up with inventive ways to say that the serfs and the peasants are causing all the problems and they need to kind of go away.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's basically what the Club of Rome is. It's it's the Bilderberg thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have heard of the Bilderberg thing. They know Bilderberg Group when they get together.
Yeah.
All the richest, wealthiest, the most powerful people in the world getting together. You're not talking about, baseball games and
right.
having a friendly little barbecue, just
build a burger,
shooting the shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
yeah. I tried there.
I know. You always do.
You got to love it though.
So anyway, think there's a lot of those. That's just one of them.
Yeah.
And they're always, got nefarious plans, the puppet masters, right?
Right. But I mean, I get it. I get why they would want us out of the way.
Yeah.
Totally get it.
You're a peasant. I'm a peasant. We get it. I feel it every day.
Yeah. I go to Walmart. If I was a billionaire, I would call Walmart ahead of time.
Go anywhere.
Clear it out.
Yeah.
I'm coming in for 10 minutes. Clear the store.
It's not right to think that.
No. I know that.
It's not healthy. It's not good.
Yeah.
But now imagine you live on a different planet. They don't live on the same planet as we do, which we were also kind of talking about there before we started the episode. The world is, you can do anything you want, right?
Yeah.
You cannot. I cannot.
No.
everything is, almost impossible for us to do in everyday life. But you have yachts, you have homes all over the world. You
Islands.
get the best of everything, private jets, travel isn't an issue. You don't have to follow the same rules. So you can imagine how you would want to prolong that.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd get to, because you get the best health care. And you also just, have all the money to do anything.
Yeah.
Money's not a thing. It's a thing for us. For you and I, it's a thing.
Yeah. It would be nice just to not have to even wonder how much stuff costs.
Think about that.
Yeah, I'll take it.
You have no real worries.
Yeah.
So you wonder what these people do when you don't have to punch a clock, every day.
What level of wealth do you think it is where, the whole mo money, mo problems thing, but what point does that stop? 100 million? 5 million?
Yeah.
Billion? You know what I mean?
Good question.
Yeah. How far up do you have to be? Does Tom Cruise?
No, he's. You
think he's above that?
When everything's catered to you.
Yeah, that's true though. He's got
a few hundred million. You're
okay.
You're still. I mean, you're not at the top, the most elite levels, I guess. And you're not, even if you're just a business owner or something.
Yeah, it's crazy to think.
And you've created your own wealth. You may still not be part of, the elite power structure on the earth today. You're not going to be there. If Justin Perleone were to...
if I busted my hump...
in this podcast...
And we made some millions.
Yeah. We're not going to be...
still not.
No, you're not. We're still not in. We're not going to be in.
Right.
Unless you get some real, massive platform. And then they see that, you're shaping ideas and you have followers and you become an influencer, as they call them today. Then,
right.
I'm guessing you probably, get pulled into the fold,
Yeah.
and join up or die sort of a situation, I guess, probably.
I think Bezos had a meeting and he just walked into it and it's everybody there being,
you're
one of us now.
Funny thing about Jeff Bezos is that his grandfather was already some sort of a director of DARPA.
It's always something.
I think his last name was Geis or something like that. He was already hooked up with military intelligence, which is kind of basically how he got his, he didn't just create Amazon in his garage and pull himself up by his bootstraps.
That's what I've always heard.
Everybody needs to know that story is always a bunch of bullshit. That's always a lie. All these guys, that they're just propped up.
From the get-go?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
You have those types of family connections and stuff. I don't know what sort of deals are made behind closed doors. I don't know what sort of connections are made.
Right.
Elon Musk being another one of those people. He had, some pretty strong connections with people that are hooked up with military intelligence.
Yeah.
It's all his stuff is all, Starlink and all that shit. It's all military contracts. It's not like it's
right. He seems to be, doing better than for the human race.
Oh, he's
than
the
most.
Cool Tony Stark.
Right.
Yeah, that's just a phony
I love
image.
it though. I do love it. This whole thing with Twitter. What do you think about that? You're a big Twitter guy.
Yeah, there's a couple of people I follow.
I know. I'm just joking. You're not really. But you're on there more than me, certainly.
Yeah. I mean, there's people that will post threads of things that are interesting.
I get on there,
and it's used. It's still an app that is used quite a bit by people. Obviously, it's not like it's kind of felt like it would like Facebook. It's really kind of archaic, going the way of
Facebook. Really took a dive lately, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's garbage.
Meta didn't really do,
but it's still being used.
Right.
So
but it's like the old person's thing now. That's what they say. It's like grandpa's
for the boomers.
Yeah,
it is
pictures.
The worst thing that's ever happened to them too.
It's awful.
Jesus. to quote Justin Perleone.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing that's happened to that generation. It's all the nonsense.
It's not helpful.
No. It's the exact opposite of helpful.
Hurtful.
Sure. That too.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's what can you do?
I mean, I guess nothing.
Yeah.
What can you do? We can start gluing ourselves to art exhibits and stuff. Do you think that's helping at all? Have you seen that?
I have.
How dumb is that?
And what was I listening to just yesterday or the day before? I think it was Whitney Webb doing an interview. She was talking about, and again, I would encourage people to go and always, who are these organizations? Who are these groups? Who fund them? I think she said something about the Gettys was one of the funders for that particular group that's been throwing paint on paintings and painting buildings, the facades of paintings or buildings when they go around.
Yeah,
those organizations are they're all funded by more billionaires, so they're not legitimate, folks. When you see these people doing this stuff, this is all nonsense. Now, at that level, those people that are doing it, they may be fooled in believing they are doing something, paid provocateurs, they're getting paid to do it. But the organizations that they belong to are bullshit. They're nonsense. So
they mean well is what you're saying.
They may.
Right.
Right. Those idiots that are doing it.
That's what I'm saying.
But the organizations that they belong to are all being funded by billionaires.
Yeah. And
by, it's all nonsense. So they just, it's like I said, paid provocateurs. Who knows what they keep talking about carbon dioxide being the main polluter. That's the one thing that's causing the whole, there's lots of other kinds of pollution that are a real problem. And, not just that, but the whole industrialization of the world, mining, things like that for natural resources.
Yeah.
People need to be aware that that's never going to be, they're never going to talk about that,
I guess isn't the carbon dioxide the major one, though? That's like crops are, that's what that one broad said on, did you hear that? Did you see her talk when she threw the paint on whatever?
Well, there's been so many of them.
Van Gogh. She was like recently. She's British.
Stopped watching them. And it's because I know
dumb.
It's not anything. It's not anything to be. Yeah.
If you're gonna do something like that, shouldn't you actually cause some damage? Like those paintings aren't just there.
They're
open
covered.
Air.
Yeah, they're covered by
what the hell?
Plexiglass or something. I guess.
They're just doing nothing.
You probably couldn't shoot them with an AK-47 and do any damage. They're probably I'm embellishing for the purposes of this story, but.
I thought you meant the people for a second.
No, I meant
don't go
the
that
paintings.
Far.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, so, anyway.
Yeah. And then, was it James Cromwell? Didn't he glued his hand to the counter at Starbucks? You see that?
Is that the actor?
The actor.
The tall actor guy?
Yeah, because they don't have...
some type of milk or something?
I think it's like a vegan option. I think that was his thing. I don't remember, but just the fact that he's what is he, 80? He walks in there, and he glues his hand.
It's
so stupid.
Yeah, and they're it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Like that doesn't.
And I think I guess if there is some legitimate, you look at these groups, if they are funded by all these billionaire organizations, again, more NGOs, which I've mentioned that term before, non-governmental organizations. Mm-hmm. If they're funded by those, then they're just creating an opposition for people to complain about, right? They're creating this false opposition. Oh, look at these goofballs, Most people will just see the goofball in the museum, or they'll see the guy or the gal out there spray painting the facade of a building. It's completely pointless. It's kind of like the Occupy Wall Street. That was just what was that all about,
That was stupid.
Nothing is real. Nothing is coming of any of this stuff. It's all you have to see who's running the organizations. That's going to tell you whether or not it's legit. Is it some sort of a grassroots?
Mm-hmm.
Has Justin Perleone in his basement started
I'm working on it.
Right.
Yeah.
But more than likely it's not. It's funded by some billionaire, whatever, affiliated with some NGO or some think tank.
Remember during that Occupy Wall Street thing, Adam Carolla had a pretty good take. He usually does. I'm a big fan. But he said this is all the participation trophy generation, like everybody does good, there are no losers, everybody wins, everything's equal. That was the first wave of these people growing up and realizing everything's not fair in the world.
What year was that anyway?
I think 2010. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Lasted for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure all of these things are pretty much nonsense.
Yep.
You know, they seem to be just more theatrics, a diversion for whatever reason. And you're wondering, like, too, if it's, they keep saying oil. I see that in their little message, when they're, we need to stop oil or whatever. They're funded by organizations and groups and billionaires, people that have all made billions off of oil.
Mm-hmm.
So do they really, are they they're moving us in that direction, supposedly, away from it already anyway, with electric cars and stuff?
Yeah.
But then, like, to, get all of the resources that you're going to need to, get all the people in electric cars. I mean, that's going to require vast amounts of mining and resource. Getting resources all over the world, the developing world primarily, I guess, Africa and South America and stuff like that. So, it's just like, you wonder, it's more nonsense, I guess, as far as.
It's just a different, yeah. There it is. Nonsense.
Yeah.
It's all the same in the end. For the most part. It's just a different type of damage. It's just for just the electric cars, I'm saying, like.
It's not really doing anything.
In order, right.
Because, again, you're saying that carbon dioxide is the main polluter, the main problem for whatever. It's not the entire problem on Earth. It's humans. But what do you there's a lot of literature, too. And I mentioned that Club of Rome.
Yeah.
They've actually published books like in the 70s, I guess, when they first started, 60s or 70s. And they're like reports basically telling, and they're interesting reading. I think you can find some of them on like the Internet Archive, basically just talking about, the population needs to lower, we need to control this and do that. And again, it's all the people that are part of these think tanks and create these organizations where they go around and talk about how everybody sucks. The peasantry isn't causing the problem. It's the billionaire corporations. It's the people that, have made their billions and whatever off of that. They're the ones creating the problems, but, they like to sell it on the idea that it's you, the little man, It's funny. It's all.
Yeah.
I think it's funny.
Well, yeah, that's why we're doing this whole thing.
Yeah. Humor.
Exactly.
Everything's humorous.
Exactly.
Okay.
Speaking of humor, you want to get into this? I'm kidding.
Are we ready yet?
No, I was just joking.
How long's it been? How long have we been going so far?
About 22 minutes.
We got a few more minutes to shoot the bull. Future episode. All right, so not going to talk about it in depth right now. Just wanted to bring up the fact that my dog had passed away, and it's cancer. Damn cancer. I know there's a cure and a safe somewhere, some magical formula.
It's got to be.
Well, maybe our next episode, maybe episode 20, we'll just have a little discussion about that.
Yeah.
Not that I've become a complete and total expert on cancer and chemotherapy and all that stuff, but you have to kind of, read up on it a little bit and research it a little bit just so you kind of know what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
As somebody you know and love is dying from cancer. Why we haven't figured it out. And what the therapies are, which are archaic.
Totally.
Chemotherapy, as we were discussing before we started, developed in the 50s and 60s. FDA approved some of these different chemotherapies in the early 70s.
Yeah.
Ancient technology, my man.
I know.
Ancient.
And my whole thing is, how long have we been working on this? Like you said.
50, 60, 70, 80 years?
Yeah. Hard, yeah.
Quotes,
hard. Have they tried everything? Every single thing? Have they tried, rubbing the tumor with some aloe? Something like that.
I don't know.
Obviously, you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
Simple things.
Yeah.
Or are they just going, right up to the hard stuff?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But I did hear something recently. I forgot what I was listening to. Somebody was talking about it.
I mean, I see articles all the time with like, new, wonderful results from certain therapies that are, they're working on this, and it's...
Yeah. But I've heard this about two things, though. Measles, they injected this woman with a mega dose of the measles virus, and that knocked the cancer out. And then this latest one was the herpes virus.
I think you brought that up
in
a conversation
and
we were having one day.
Why aren't they working on that? Like, why is that not if that wiped it out completely, why are they not working on that? Or make a virus. We can do that now. Alter a virus that's just a cancer
Killing
whoop-asser.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know why they don't do that stuff.
Yeah,
How hard can it be?
How hard can it be?
Yeah.
Can't be that difficult, right?
Surely not.
That's what I was reading is, cancer's your own cells doing crazy things, and each person's cancer is different. What's going on with your cancer, whatever it is, if you get it, which I guess we all will at some point.
That's what they say.
If you don't already have it in you right now.
Yeah. Especially with the prostate cancer. If you live long enough, you will get it.
And of course, there's the argument if it's environmental or if it's genetic. They seem to not know. I guess at the clinical level, it's, doctors and veterinarians are just doing what they're told, what they've learned in school. But, those secret laboratories off that are developing all these things, that's what I'm kind of referring to in this particular instance,
Yeah.
Like I was saying, it's amazing that they developed chemotherapy. Chemotherapy attacks the fast-dividing cells. That's cool. They figured out some way of trying to deal with it with chemotherapy, which is, if people don't know, because I did not know, it was developed from, I guess, spores and bacteria from soil. So that's amazing that they discovered. That's amazing that they discovered that.
Yeah.
That's incredible. But the shit don't work. So we need to figure something else out because it's not working.
We're definitely going to look back on that as what the hell were they thinking?
And you can inject chemotherapy, how they, I guess through like an IV kind of a deal, and you can go through that, and it can actually cause cancer. So it's and how everybody's going to react to it is different too. So it may work, it may not, which is what we experienced, with young Jackie.
Yep.
It was, did we make it worse or better? This is me just sort of venting right now.
Right.
In the full episode that we do on this, which I don't even know what that's really going to be, other than just me complaining for an hour. I just, I guess it helps to talk about it.
Totally.
With my pal here.
Yeah.
People may want to listen, may have lost a pet, family member.
Which
part of the grieving process.
About this, losing a pet is arguably harder than a relative.
Yeah. Of course, you start watching lots of videos on YouTube, people talking about this. The grief, the bond is different. That's the thing.
Totally different.
It's a nonverbal, for the most part. It's this connection with this soul that you have, that you're every day of your life,
Mm-hmm.
Not like a brother, sister, cousin, your friend, whatever. It's a completely different, arguably more intimate relationship,
Yeah.
They see you at your most vulnerable all the time. And you get to know each other inside and out, and your quirks, your idiosyncrasies.
Yep.
Did I say that right?
They love you no matter what,
Yeah.
That's the thing with dogs.
Pure
especially.
unfallen spirits, right?
Yeah.
So, right now I am rage.
Yeah.
Listeners.
Yeah.
And if you've lost a pet, perhaps you are too. I'm not going to go into the whole thing right now.
And next episode.
I'm not going to do it.
Next episode, we'll get into it.
We'll dive into that.
Yep.
And talk about that a little further. Just my experience, maybe, huh? And maybe there's some catharsis in there where people have, experienced the same thing. Maybe you were sold false hopes, like me. Not that I was, but you just.
Well,
it's why haven't they figured this shit out?
I know.
Again, it's ridiculous.
I know.
You can handle fungus and bacteria and viruses. Supposedly a virus just shows up out of the blue, and now you've got a cure for it, or at least a treatment that will prolong people's lives. Magic Johnson, I'm thinking of AIDS. The height of AIDS, he's still alive, so he never died.
Yeah.
So everybody else was croaking left and right. Why was it he was able to? Do you have access to some sort of special treatment or medication? They kind of knew what this stuff was and could handle it for a superstar, for a basketball player. I don't know.
You never know. He's just magic.
Could be.
Yeah.
Maybe he was.
Yeah.
So anyway, that is not the topic of this episode. And I'm sorry to sort of had to have... It's just the foremost thing on my mind right now, so kind of diverted away from what we're going to be discussing, which is the FBI files were released. Dennis Martin case. 1969, the disappearance.
Mm-hmm. New shit has come to light, as a wise man once said.
The dude.
Yeah. How do you want to get started on this whole thing?
I don't know. You go ahead, because I've been running my mouth here for quite a while. I don't think anyone wants to listen to me the whole time,
Well,
right?
I mean,
Go ahead, babe. You got it.
You go to look at this thing. Well, I will post the link to the actual, what was it, 120-something pages worth of a lot of stuff that was just the same thing over and over again.
120, 130, somewhere in there.
Yeah. But, I mean, some of it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, man. I always like a good pile of documents to go through.
Yeah. A lot of it, like I said, is just the same stuff that everybody knows.
Well, yeah, they have to kind of like, with the different reports, I guess they sort of have to like give you a basic synopsis.
Yep.
So you see that in there quite often.
Oh,
Which,
yeah.
by the way, I would encourage our listeners to go and read through these documents on their own. You can go to the FBI vault, I guess is what it's called, and you'll see them there. You can go through them yourself. This isn't, At some point, the reason why we're doing an episode on this is because there's a guy that's got a YouTube channel, and we started with the missing 411, and of course, Dennis Martin case is one of the big missing 411 cases. And we interviewed Dwight McCarter a couple of years ago, and they've been looking to get these. People have been trying to get these FOIA'd for years now. Freedom of Information Act released, and for whatever reason, the FBI has been sitting on them. And within the past year, this guy with the YouTube channel, who had contacted us for his video to use a clip of Dwight's interview.
Yep, and it's the Missing Enigma.
Missing Enigma.
Is the guy.
Sorry. He just recently did, I guess within the past few months, did a video on the FBI files. He, I guess, from what he said, was he tried to get him released.
Yeah.
Contacted the FBI. They wouldn't release him. David Paulides did that as well. And again, they wouldn't, for whatever reason, release these files. And so he guessed within the past year is when they just decided to release him. I don't guess anybody else.
Just to put him out there.
Yeah. Had Freedom of Information Act requested them.
Yeah.
In an effort, because we do our due diligence here at the Terribly Vexed Podcast, I contacted the FBI, our local office here in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I think I called them 3 times. First time I never got anybody. Second time I did, and for whatever reason, yeah, I didn't. Ultimately there was no luck. The third time I got a voicemail. I got Second time I called, and I got their media office. I tried different extensions, okay? Got their media number and left a voicemail for one of their media people. I assume that would be who they want an agent talking directly to people. You know, you say something maybe that they think you could use against them somehow or whatever.
Yeah.
Legal issues with that, I'm sure. And then the third time I called, I got a switchboard operator for the FBI, some gal, and she directed me to an agent, and I got an actual agent's office number voicemail, and I left a voicemail, and I heard nothing back from him.
Yeah. So,
surprise, surprise, the FBI.
I hope he's all right.
The FBI, they're not exactly the most, forthright and communicative when it comes to this kind of a thing.
What if they had your number on like caller ID? They just, God, this fucking guy again. He just keeps
3
calling.
times.
Yeah.
And all I wanted to do was get both a date for release of these files and just find out if they were, and ask a couple of questions about a few of the things, because there's some mentions some deletions in the files. Like if I'm looking at it correctly, I saw upwards of about 80 pages deleted, I guess, but there could be more. I saw that in a couple of places. Is that kind of what you saw?
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff that's been blanked out and redacted, I believe.
Oh yes,
a lot of that stuff. Which some of it I get, like occasional person's name. They don't need that, but
and some of those, I think the guy with the missing enigma was able to, and of course we know now, just because it's 50, 60 years on. We can fill in some of those, like the Keys incident. You can put those in, obviously.
Yeah.
When it goes through the Keys incident, when he heard the sound and saw the weird guy up there near Rowan's Creek or whatever, which is a couple hours after Dennis disappeared.
Yeah. But looking through this, it did just solidify my belief that FOIA, just if you get some docs, they don't have to give you everything. If they don't want to give it to you, they're not going to give it to you.
No, there could be more.
That's what I'm saying. So like, all right, they give us, all right, here you go. Here's a little bit. Shut up. Here you go. The real stuff is still tucked away.
Whatever that could be.
Yep.
Sorry. I think my level was peaking there.
No, you're good. But you know what I mean? Like the UFO people, especially.
Yeah.
They're getting all these documents, but it's always the same garbage. Nothing.
But like from the files, like the information is just the same.
It's just always the same thing.
Generic.
Yeah. Very
limited hangout type stuff.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. There's stuff in there. We don't know what it is. We don't know. We admit we don't know what it is. Yeah, we know that. Just tell us it's aliens, man.
That's all we want to hear.
Yeah.
But it could be a psyop too. They could just be
totally
fucking with you, man.
Yep.
I know you want to believe.
Yeah, I really do. I really, really do.
So anyway, did do our due diligence here. I did try to contact them. They were no help, as I didn't really honestly think they would be.
Yeah. But.
What were you going to do? We're going to say.
Nothing.
Real quick, if you're listening to this episode, before we get into the actual files, just kind of, we read through them, and we're just going to kind of go through and talk about a few of the interesting things that doesn't really change much of anything. Not really,
No, it's just interesting details on certain...
Which we didn't have.
Yeah, that's all it is. Stuff that's come up in in different investigations they did that weren't really necessarily common knowledge.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this episode and you've just picked up the Terribly Vexed podcast, what we talk about and stuff, I would refer you back to the Dennis Martin episode where we kind of talk about the specifics of his disappearance. But just for the purposes of this right now, I'll tell you just kind of a brief synopsis of what happened. So, family camping trip into the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. They go up, disappear. I think Dennis disappears. It's June 14th, 1969. And he was with his father and grandfather. And there were some other people up there. I've heard and seen different reports as to who all was up there at Spence Field in the Great Smoky Mountains at the time. We listened to the Dwight McCarter episode. He said there were some hippies up there. So, one of the big things is that Dennis could have been kidnapped by one of the people that was up there. Who knows? Other various theories involve Bigfoot, obviously.
What is that? I'm not familiar with Bigfoot.
I'm not either, really. I've seen it quite a bit.
We have to do an episode on that.
Yeah. Bigfoot, Sasquatch, skunk ape, and also mountain men or feral people, which is a more common... which is a point I wanted to bring up too, by the way, while I'm talking about it. I think that term feral people is sort of a misnomer. I don't think that's actually correct. When you say feral people, like go back 60 years in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, you sort of look at the contention of the way the park was taken from the people by the government, by the state, and turned into a national park, and people were kicked out.
Right.
Do we believe... back in that time period that people perhaps still lived deep in the backcountry? I tend to believe that, yes. Probably somewhere back there, people decided not to leave, right?
Yeah.
Just like with the Trail of Tears, not all of the Cherokee left this area. Some of them went into the mountains and were able to, hide out. So I think that probably happened with some of the mountain folk back in those days.
Do you think that could be happening now?
Probably not.
Like satellites and stuff would be all just, what's this?
Yeah.
What's this little thing
What's
here?
this structure? Is there something?
Yeah. But we've all seen The Village.
Right?
He did it.
Yeah.
So
there is that.
Yeah.
There's that movie.
That documentary. Oh, is it not a documentary?
I don't think so.
Huh. Okay.
Could have been. Maybe it was.
Based on real events.
Hey, there's islands where people are still, have never seen modern man and things like that. But, while the Appalachia is vast, it's a vast area. You go into like the Smokies, just looking at the park itself, it's, 500,000 square acres. So it's a lot. It's a vast area.
Yeah.
500 and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. It's crazy huge. You get up there on a peak somewhere and you look out over those vast, expanses of mountains and jungle, and then go back 60 years. It's quite possible somebody could have been living there, but I don't know to say that they were feral like an animal. They could have been pretty wild and, hills have eyes sort of a deal, but
right. They just turn into something else.
But for the purposes of our episode today, I don't think you would call them feral people because it just sort of puts a different
horror movie spin on it.
Yeah, that it may not be the case.
Right.
But to say that somebody lived there, was perhaps watching them, and decided to, kidnap or take him when he had an opportunity is quite possible. If somebody lived up there. Who knows what sort of deviant, perverted, filthy, psycho, could have possibly lived up there somewhere.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it could have been one of those damn hippies,
Those damn hippies.
Up there hanging out in Spence Field.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Dennis and they were playing, and then they were going to do a little hide and seek. His cousins, they went off, or with the family there that they were hanging out with, and then he went one way, they went the other. The kids came back, and again, Dennis was only out of sight of his grandfather, family for just a few minutes. Probably at a distance of, I've seen various things, and I think it's even in some of the files, 30 to 40 yards maybe, if that.
Yeah.
So anyway, you see it. Get into this stuff, you'll see that there's lots of different accounts. You kind of just have to find what you think may be in the truth in there somewhere. 30 feet, 30 yards, you don't know.
I know. It's a whole...
Point being, he's 6 years old. He probably wasn't too terribly far away.
Right.
So, but he disappeared, never to be seen again.
So, where... Do you have any specific examples you want to get to here? Like start with?
What, from the files?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah, there were a couple of things I was kind of like, and these sort of came from like watching the video that the Missing Enigma dude did on YouTube.
Yeah.
There was one, for example, I was kind of concerned about, like, because this could kind of make a difference in like distances and stuff like that, as far as like time frames, and could have somebody done something and been somewhere? Could the Keys family have seen or heard what they thought they saw and heard?
Yeah.
From Spence Field down to the Rowans Creek area, also known as, like, I guess, the Sea Branch area in Cades Cove. And I don't think his distance was correct in the Missing Enigma, because I've hiked all that stuff up there. It's our backyard.
Right.
Right. And I've hiked that numerous times, that area up there. And plus also, you can just very quickly go on Google Earth and check your distances there.
Yeah.
I think originally they were kind of thinking that the distance from Spence Field down to Rowans Creek via the trails was 7 miles, but I don't think it's 7 miles. And this makes a big difference in your time frame.
Yeah.
Couple of hours. Because I think the FBI and their reports were saying that nobody could have made that distance. When we know, because I don't know if it was in our actual interview with Dwight or if he said it to me on one of his hikes, but he made that distance himself at the time when the Keys thing came to light. He checked it himself. He went up to Spence Field and he hiked down to Rowans Creek in under 2 hours. So it could be made by a person. With a person carrying a child, I don't know. But it's not 7 miles distance. I think it's probably more 4.5, 5 would be closer to the correct distance. And especially if you know the area well and if you're sure-footed.
Yep.
Because, ultimately they're saying that another one of the theories was that, he was abducted, not by necessarily a feral person or somebody that lived in the mountains, in the backcountry, but also just a goofball, because then you see like a white van or a white car leaving from the picnic area down there. That was another one of the theories, so.
Yeah.
Anyway. Just want to be sure on that distance right there.
Right.
And they talk about it in the files.
Just when they were talking about the investigation of the two people of questionable reputation that were in the area around that time. Did you hear about that or read about that? Sorry.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, but I mean that was just one that is going with the feral people thing. They kind of looked into that. Those two people who could have possibly been involved with a kidnapping, but
was this in the 70s? Was that the later
nope,
years?
This was like August. This is on page 38 of the documents, which I will link to. August 8th, 1969 was when this letter was sent out to whoever.
And was this the same guy they were talking about that seemed to be unusually interested in the investigation? I guess he was in Cades Cove.
No. This is just a quick letter saying that these two people, their names are not in here, unfortunately.
Redacted.
But they were not in the area at the time. Upon further investigation, and there was zero evidence of any abduction.
Gotcha.
So that's just something that they threw in here about as far as kidnapping goes with whoever these two people were.
The people in question.
They are, yeah. Yep. But yeah, I mean, just,
But they did investigate numerous suspects.
Right. And screams. They said they heard screams around, obviously the area. So they look into that stuff. And that was that.
Yeah, and they were
these two fellas.
Yeah, and they were talking about somebody who seemed unusually interested. You never know what the reason was behind that, who that person was, and so anyway,
which is odd to be like that.
Did you look into those further? The other people that they investigated in the late 70s, 78, 79, 81?
I don't think so. Not in my notes. No, I did not have that.
Because they were talking about actually going to prisons. They went to several different prisons.
Yeah. Oh, wait. The hold on a second.
I mean, we might as well talk about the other suspects because they did investigate what Mr. Martin was sort of. Initially, he kind of wasn't really happy, or I want to say understood or misunderstood what the FBI's involvement was going to be. For whatever reason, you get this from the files and they talk about it. They pretty much, they weren't going to be a boots on the ground situation. I guess there were so many people up there searching and stuff. They weren't really involved, I guess, to the level with which he would have been happy because he had read, I guess, one of the FBI agents had given him a report or something. And the guy at the Missing Enigma talks about this too. They had some things wrong in one of their reports, and he was very upset about that, as he should be.
Yeah.
He's trying to get all the help in there that he can possibly get, and get all the interest to find his son that he possibly can, because the whole time he's thinking somebody's abducted him.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's one of the main things you kind of get from the files too. The various agents talking about how they're having to, I want to say, deal with his father.
Yeah.
But they're
But they also, the parents put flyers out. They were nationwide. This was a national search.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest.
Which I didn't realize that until I read through these things. But I think, I'm not sure if what you were talking about was this story here. This was in 1978-ish. It goes back and forth on the years, but there's a guy in a Memphis prison.
Right.
Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah, there were a couple of those.
Yeah, and this guy,
which I never knew until was able to look into these.
Exactly. And this is like a little Shawshank type action here. This guy says he was an inmate with one of his fellow inmates. Told him a story about that he kidnapped Dennis Martin, and he told this story to the cops, and they. With newspaper clippings and articles and logs and stuff, they verified the story. And the dude, no names, unfortunately, but the guy that said he heard this story, that he said he, quote, would be too happy to take a polygraph test. Right, so he was, for sure, this guy was. So they found this guy.
They're sure that the guy he was with was talking about it. And that he was telling the truth to them.
Right. So they got the dude's name. They looked for his arrest records, and he was currently incarcerated. So they got him. They interviewed some of his fellow inmates, and they said this guy, he is a bullshit artist. He just tells these stories to get credibility in prison.
Some street cred.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. This guy was just lying the whole time. His ex-wife actually said that he was down with her during all this time. So he was cleared. Long story short, he was cleared.
And there was a couple of those.
But it's like,
but again, this was 10 years later.
Yeah,
they were doing
exactly.
these.
And it's just kind of cool.
So there was plenty of news about all this that had happened. And
right.
this goofball decided to say that he was.
I mean, what harm could it be? Could it be? What harm could it do? It's 10 years later. Let me take the credit. I'm already in prison. I'm just going to go ahead and say I did it. These guys will leave me alone. He was bullied, apparently.
I see.
And, you know.
Yeah. So you did have a couple of those. They did some investigating like that. They were annoyed with his father, though. Dennis's father, William, just because of that whole thing. Him constantly inquiring.
Yeah.
And pushing and pressing.
Did you hear about the student that was in Portland, Oregon?
That was in the files as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because of these flyers that the parents put out nationwide, coast to coast. They got a letter from Portland, Oregon, from a teacher saying that one of these students resembles Dennis Martin, even one time answered to Dennis. Right? But apparently Dennis had a birthmark on the top of his foot, which I found this odd too. In the files it said possibly his left foot, parents unsure. Do you think you'd know your kid's birthmark?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Foot. It's only two options. It's not hard to, I don't know. Anyways, it looked like a drop of coffee, and this kid didn't have it. And yeah, so that's just another thing. The kid just looked like him. And I guess the teacher said, hey, Dennis. And he looked over.
Just a little test to see
just a quick little test. Like the kid was going along with it somehow. But yeah, but again, nothing. But it's just a
false hopes.
Yep.
I mean, it even talks about him, wanting them to kind of look at tips from clairvoyants, psychics.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can understand how desperate the dude was getting at this time. I mean, how awful would that be, right? So.
Yeah, did you read about that one lady that they brought in? They found that rock in the cabin. So this.
Oh, she sent him off she said, you need to go here and pick this up and underneath.
The father. She told the father that she saw a cabin in the woods. Something shiny, just in her vision, just something shiny.
Right.
As you face the cabin, the back left corner. So they found this cabin. They assumed it was some ranger station or something like that.
I thought it was like one of the shelters up
That's
there.
what I meant. Yeah, you're right. Ranger station, shelter, same difference.
But
right?
I think they do have ranger cabins in the park.
Yeah.
They're sort of off the beaten path just for, rangers and stuff. Because Dwight was talking about those one time, and I was like, holy shit, you've got little cabins up there?
Yeah.
Anyway.
But what's odd, she said in her vision she saw something shiny in that back left corner. They get there. Mr. Martin, there's a bed there in that corner. Underneath the bed in that back left corner, there's a pair of undershorts underneath a rock under there. So it couldn't have just fallen back there. It was like placed there under a rock somehow. Bed was bolted to the floor, so it's not like And they were badly rotted and everything, so it wasn't like they were freshly put there by this lady. And but no labels, marks, and no fluid or DNA of any, or I guess whatever fluids, hair, nothing.
No DNA.
But yeah, it is kind of odd that was it all one big setup?
Did she take it up there and put it there herself?
She had some underwear rotting out in the yard that she just picked up. I'm gonna put this here, and then tell them to go look. I don't know. It's just odd that happened. There was something in that back left corner.
Yeah, it's not. That's kind of specific, but like having hiking up there semi regularly as I do, it's not uncommon for people to leave shit laying around, or maybe that's pretty specific.
Yeah, and
I'll give you that.
Under the bed with a rock on it.
Right. And then you're just like, that's, but people will drop stuff. People will leave stuff.
Yeah.
Shelters, people leave garbage.
Right.
it's not uncommon to see clothes or clothing items out there when you hike sometimes. People drop stuff all the time.
Yeah. And this is a quote from, "It was impossible for it to have fallen between the mattress and the wall."
It was intentionally put there.
Yeah. Under the bed, shoved in the corner.
Do you remember what the time frame was on that? Like if it was years later? Because you just wonder like if somebody had gone up there and like, placed something there to...
That was page 41, and I'm looking at it right now.
Because people will like do stuff like that, They'll the weird fascination with things like this. They'll get in there and...
The letter, October 4th, 1969.
Oh, so just a few months later.
Yeah, that's when that took place.
But we can assume also that the search had been called off by that point.
Yeah.
And if...
October. When did you say it was? June?
Yeah.
Okay.
If somebody had the intention of perhaps giving themselves some sort of... I don't know, like furthering their reputation.
Right.
Maybe she went up there or had somebody go up there and put something in there. I don't know. Or maybe she's legit.
Or maybe she has something.
Don't know. But anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I just found that weird. So, of course, her name isn't redacted, but...
Oh, her name is?
Yep. Just nice white square.
I was trying to figure out a way to unredact. I've seen people try to do that.
Is it possible on digital?
Well, like there was a news. Remember I sent you that? It was like there was some sort of a court case going on, and the court had released some documents, and however it was, they released them, I guess, as a PDF, and I guess perhaps maybe if you redact them digitally with a PDF, whatever it was the reporter did, they saved them or converted them to like a Word document or something, or a different text document.
The original stuff still there?
And it was just essentially underneath this digital redaction, and they were able to see all the names and everything, and they got really, really pissed at them for doing that.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
The court did. And this was recent, too. I want to say it was with the Parkland shooting case that's been going on down there, where it's been happening recently.
Yeah.
With that little goofball. I want to say it had something to do with that. So they released him as a PDF, and then they just converted him to something else as a little trickery.
Yep.
And you could...
you can see it.
See the... Yeah. I was trying to do it with this.
Well, that's like a very specific... Like if it's still the same... file that you're getting, not posted on the internet, downloaded, posted, reposted,
over and over and over again.
Yeah.
If it's directly from the source, or if they didn't perhaps convert it.
Yeah. I don't know how that works.
In a certain way themselves before they released it.
Yeah.
Whatever. I didn't have the good Adobe, so I couldn't actually convert the files. You got to pay for that.
That stuff's harder to get now. Remember back in the day, I used to have all kinds of bootlegs.
Subscriptions to everything now. You can't even...
I know. Those days are over.
So anyway, it was... they did do some inquiring. And they did do some investigating to some degree.
I mean, I don't... Again, this is the same... No new conclusion.
No, but just the fact that didn't know anything about... Nobody knew anything about what kind of investigating they did, or what sort of, like, people they were looking at.
Yeah.
People that were actually there in Cades Cove, like that one dude I was talking about. And
Yep.
Some discrepancies in, like, distances and stuff like that. That's kind of important because, can make the difference in determining whether or not somebody could, make a difference. And if people didn't know, and if we didn't, we can just kind of, we're always going to revisit these things anyway. Mm-hmm. Like with this, things we didn't know when we did our episode that, but like, and I couldn't remember if Dwight had mentioned that in the podcast, making that hike. So I wanted to bring that up too.
Yeah.
Just that it could be done. And it's also important to remember, like, if a person hopped on that trail that time of year, Dennis disappeared roughly, I think, around 4:30 in the afternoon, and sunset that time of year, 1969, was like 9:20 p.m. So,
damn,
I looked that up. So there was 5 hours of daylight.
Yeah.
Which is still like, if he was, 30, 40 yards away, how is it nobody could, find him just that far away with grandfather there, father, friends, family, other people?
Yeah, that is, I guess he didn't have his Apple Watch on for his location services or anything like that, huh?
Right.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah. What was I going to say? I had something Dwight in that interview. Remember he talked about the crow, the smelling of the crow, and he bets that he's down there somewhere in that whatever area that is?
Yeah, it's...
Where was that?
It's... It was off of the Boat Mountain Trail, which is like a Jeep trail.
Is it? I know it's been a long time. Why doesn't somebody go down there and look?
You'd never find anything.
You don't think like with some type of scans of some sort? So is it not that it's not worth it, but you know what I mean? Money-wise, is it?
Like they say every year with the foliage, when the leaves fall, it's, a few inches at least of more that falls down. So you're talking 50 plus years, almost 60 years.
Right. There's nothing.
There's no way you could,
even if you use
plus
one of
critters, all the bears.
Right.
There would be nothing left.
I guess that's true.
Little child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. It just seems like the FBI, my interpretation, looking at these files, they just sort of seem to sort of write it off too quickly as a missing child, just a kid that wandered off. I think they used that same wording in some of the, when they're talking about the whole thing. The kid just wandered off, and that's it. They're in a vast wilderness up there.
Yeah. And there was nothing about, at least I didn't see it, anything about the Green Berets and military up there. I didn't see anything about that. Like no.
Talking about it in a weird way.
Yeah. Like nothing like they weren't button heads or, anything like that. Like you would think, in a movie, you got the FBI comes in, everybody's,
this is my jurisdiction.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, I guess everybody was cooperating for the most part. But again, it was the largest search. Which, if you're not familiar with it, I guess in the national park, and up to that time and since then, I guess this is the one that really changed all of the search and rescues after the fact, because they realized you can't just put, like they did, 1,400 people up there.
Yeah.
To canvass the area. You're going to trample over any sign, as Dwight would call it.
I get the idea behind it, but it's no good.
What's that?
Getting that many people. You think the more people, the better the odds of finding them. But it's no good.
Yeah, you want to close it off and get a few professional trackers in there.
Yep.
Oh, it was just looking at the notes there. William, Dennis's father had written a letter to Duncan at the time. Essentially wanting to. Did you see anything about that? I was talking about that in the thing, and I think the letter's actually in there too. And Duncan wrote a letter to, was he a state senator? Was a representative? Wrote a letter to J. Edgar Hoover, and his letter to J. Edgar Hoover is in the files as well.
I think I have it right here.
The actual letter.
I think so. I think there were a few things. Was it regarding? This is about the investigation of the two. This is the one where it mentions page 38, where it mentions the. Investigation, those two questionable
characters.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that's the one you're talking about. There's a few letters that are going back and forth in these documents. So.
That's kind of interesting. I didn't know that, Duncan had, he had been contacted directly, I guess, by William, and then he wrote a letter to J. Edgar Hoover, who was a piece of shit, by the way.
I knew something was... I was ready.
And not like he would give a rat's ass about some kid disappearing in the... It's, at that level, I guess it's all just posturing. Well, I wrote a letter to J. Edgar Hoover.
His signature's stamped on it. Sincerely yours, Tunk.
J. Edgar Hoover.
So did he even write it? Yeah. Look at that at the bottom there.
Yeah.
It's just like a not even like a fake signature stamp. It's just like a bold printed.
I'm sure he never saw this.
Yeah, probably not. But, it is stuff, I don't know. It's just stuff like that you get to see in these documents. That's why they are kind of cool.
Yeah.
Cool, interesting, rather.
Cool.
It's cool as shit, man.
Real cool.
Yeah.
No, but, it doesn't really change much of anything as far as, like, the outcome of trying to figure out what happened, other than the fact that we just know now for certain that there was some investigations that went on for years. They did do interviews. They did try to locate people and interview people and talk to people. And
yeah.
So at the very least, we wanted to talk about it today. Just do a little update on the old case there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, if people stumble across this, let them know that those files are available. Because again, had we not... Did you send that to me, the missing Enigma, or did I just happen to see it myself?
I think it was in our... Because I believe I followed him when I was doing a YouTube upload.
Okay.
So I think you may have just seen it in the feed.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And, everybody's been waiting, I guess, for years for something to be released from the FBI.
Yeah.
And this is pretty much all we got.
Yeah.
Nothing groundbreaking, unfortunately.
Nope.
And again, I would like to have known when and why, and had been able to ask, because you can't always fully interpret things from FBI documents. So I was kind of wanting to get an agent, which isn't going to happen. But at the time of this recording, anyway, we haven't contacted anyone, or one of them contacted us back to ask a few questions.
Yeah. I wonder if we can get a FBI agent on this podcast that's familiar with the case.
Sign a release.
From back then.
Oh, they're dead.
We'll tell them we're not recording. We promise.
Agents Estill and Reich were apparently the two agents that were working. These were the local agents in Knoxville.
Estill. How do you pronounce or spell that?
Estill and Reich.
How do you like that?
Rike. So those were the ones that were, I guess, working on this specifically, the Knoxville office.
Huh. Well,
anyway, again, go back and listen to our other episodes. We go into the specifics.
More information there.
Of the actual disappearing and the way it all played out and everything.
Right.
And we talk about some of the other interesting cases that are sort of associated with Missing 411 in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. And go look at those files for yourself.
Exactly. And again, they will be in the show notes. A couple links.
Right.
To them.
Nice and easy for you.
Yeah. Just click on it. It'll take you right to it. Hyperlinks, baby.
Dig them.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all I got on this topic. Do you... Anything else?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's pretty
cut
good.
And dry.
Yeah. I think we just, wanted to talk about that and let people know that they're available.
Yeah.
And just talk about a few of the discrepancies that were kind of interesting.
I like it. I dig it. I think we nailed it.
I think so.
Well,
we're back again. Like we left,
Well, we
talked ourselves into it and we were able to do it, man.
Yeah. And we're going to do it again very soon.
It's good. I need to do it.
This is going to be, the next one anyways, is going to be the big 2-0.
Yep.
What are we going to do for that?
Is it going to be me bitching about cancer?
No, I mean like something special. We didn't do a Halloween episode this year. No. A lot of stuff was going on.
Yeah. Couldn't do it.
And you didn't want to do the same stuff with Ty and, all that. It's old hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Ghost stories.
Yeah. Old news.
At an unnamed resort? Is that what it was?
Or was Blackberry Farm.
Okay.
I don't care anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. Which I think after listening to that, Blackberry comes up quite often in that episode. I say we're not going to say it, and then, the ghost of Blackberry. Yeah, so.
And it's said all throughout.
Yeah, what can you do?
Well, maybe next year we can do another.
I mean,
there was too much going on this year, man.
Who is to say? Just hear me out now.
Okay.
Why do we have to follow all the other sheep? Why can't we do a Halloween special in July if we want?
Hey, we can.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want.
Last I checked, this is America. It's a free country.
A Thanksgiving episode.
Thanksgiving, the true story behind Thanksgiving.
A Christmas episode.
The true story behind Christmas.
A New York Year's. a New York
episode.
Yeah, a New Year's Eve episode.
Yeah.
Live.
I like that.
Open lines.
I do like that. Ooh.
Just yeah. Open lines. We'll get some people calling in.
East of the Rockies.
We don't have a phone line to
we'll do some DMs. We'll get on Instagram Live.
So yeah. Did you before we did you I don't know if you wanted to talk about any of the you didn't want to bring up the reviews or anything?
I think we should. On the website terriblyvexed.com, it does say if you message us or anything, we give you a little shout out.
Okay.
So what the hell? Should we read some of these reviews, or you just want to give the names?
You had them available, right?
I got them right here.
Because you like it. You want to talk about them.
It encourages some interaction, I think.
I did not know that's what those were. I thought those were your notes, but
no, the big font like this, so you can read all the goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so we got Nick Van L. Which I think. Yeah, okay. This one he did start out with the Dennis Martin episode and Dwight McCarter interview. He says the title of the thing is The Vexed Boys, and I do like that. We should call ourselves that. It's the Vexed Boys here.
Change the title of the podcast altogether.
Yeah, it's not bad. Terribly Vexed with the Vexed Boys.
Yeah, or like a byline, I guess, or a subtitle.
That way, instead of with Justin and Josh, we don't have to do that. You know how we argue every time we make something. Whose name comes first?
Yeah,
yeah.
I would just give it to you.
We've gotten into fist fights before over that.
That's the courteous.
Well, I think you should be.
We've wrestled. We've wrestled it out.
Yep. Yeah, he says these guys are great. Their episodes are great.
I love it.
I mean,
I love it.
It's just beautiful. And I would have to say, they are terribly vexed.
That is correct, sir.
I mean,
you are right. Yeah. We are.
And then he begs a little bit here. Please don't stop making episodes, please.
Well, if shitty things in life would stop happening, we'd be a little more. We'd be on a more regular basis. But
yeah,
under the microscope right now for some damn reason. There's a cloud, dark cloud, man.
Well, we'll get through this. Yeah. It's always darkest before dawn, they say.
That's
Batman
what they say.
Said that.
They say all kinds of stupid shit, don't they?
Yeah, they do. He goes on to say, speaking of disappearance of Dennis Martin, an interview with Dwight McCarter was the first two episodes I listened to, and they are great.
Wow.
Also, the other episodes are great. Great work, boys. Boys with a Z.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
The Vexed Boys.
We're trying. We're trying, everybody. We're trying to squeeze this in as often as possible.
Yeah. I mean, so that was a 5-star. We got another 5-star from Lenny in PNW. I believe that's Pacific Northwest. I could be wrong, though.
I think you're right.
Fun and interesting, like shooting the breeze about conspiracy theories with a couple of friends. That's the vibe we're trying to put out there, I think.
That's exactly what we were going for.
Yeah. A lot of humor, banter, but interesting facts that are, well, it says that are, I think what he meant to say, that often present a little different side of the story from events you may think you know all the facets of.
We will never lie to you all. I want you all to know that right now. I will never fucking lie to you.
And I think that's a great quality.
Ever.
Yep.
It's not what I'm here to do. We're here to get the facts.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
The reality of the situation, whatever that is, wherever it takes us.
Exactly. And then we got another one. You ready for this? A woman, a girl. Jules Queen says, glad I found you. Love to listen to you both. Enjoy the Josh tirades.
I'm getting more comfortable with the idea that I'm free to rant and rave.
Yep. That's what everybody loves about you. That's what I love about you most.
And I think you may see that in the next one.
Oh yeah.
So keep on a lookout for that.
Yep. She says, wish you could film the podcast at the same time just to watch the interaction and finger pointing.
Yeah, we're getting there,
Yeah. Which maybe for the live for the live special is pointing at each other.
I don't think We don't really point at each other.
We don't really argue with each other so much. We look at our notes and point at them as we're reading it.
Yeah, we're in this together.
Yeah. But we could do like a live, we could do an Instagram live. IGL.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That'd be a special.
Before. I've never done a live anything on the internet.
I haven't either.
That's part of what I like about doing this is not, because I could just take out anything I want in this.
We can fix it.
Yeah.
We can make it right.
Yeah, live, they get to see all the terror on our faces when there's a silent moment of, oh God, what next? What next?
When I get to show off this mustache, though,
that's true. It's a great mustache.
Which is the whole point I even grew this thing.
Yeah, it's damn good. It's looking great.
A character, okay? This isn't real.
Especially when you smile, like I said. Oh, it's beautiful. Flattens right out, curves at the ends.
Yeah.
And then she ends it up with this. I love this, right? Because, and your friend's going to love this too. I also love the long editions. Listen on the 20-minute car rides to work, and especially appreciate it during the 2.5-hour drives. And here's the last part. Ignore the 1 hour friend. You hear that?
Yeah.
We were told to ignore you.
Oh, I caught that.
If he's listening to this.
It really...
keep it going. That's how she ends it.
Yeah, well, the 1 hour thing isn't really feasible most times.
Yeah.
And it's too constricting, so it's, some people like a nice, concise, short podcast. We kind of... way we're doing it, we kind of want a little more freedom to kind
of... I also enjoy the podcasts that are a little more free, just free form.
Not as structured.
Yeah, especially ones that are edited, all the silence are edited. It's like, it's too, you can just tell it's fake, and I don't like it.
It's not what we're going for here.
Yeah, don't dig it.
So we're not going to do that. Yeah. And you're right. We're going to keep rolling with the whatever.
Yep.
However long it takes.
Yeah.
All right.
So thank you all for your kind words.
Yes, thank you all.
And for listening, and keep listening.
Appreciate it.
And yeah, as usual. Close her out?
Sure.
Yep. If you like it, go to iTunes, rate, review, subscribe. Go to terriblyvexed.com. Send us a message there.
Yep.
Instagram, Terribly Vexed Podcast.
I think so.
And you go to youtube.com/terribly vexed. Maybe there's a podcast at the end there.
Yeah.
Just look up Terribly Vexed. It's the only one that comes up. So get in touch with us anywhere you can.
By all means.
Yeah.
We have you mentioned the YouTube, right?
Yep.
Go do something there. Go say hi there.
Yeah.
Shit.
It's perfect. All right. Well, until next time.
Yeah, we'll see you next time, everybody.